Boom! Hello and welcome to episode 74 of the Good Guy Podcast with me, Vittorio Angelone. What's the fucking crack? How's it going? I hope you're keeping well. If you're watching on the YouTube, yes, I am wearing a fucking sexy hat. It's because my hair looks a little bit ridiculous today. And some of you are thinking, hey, Vittorio, your hair always looks ridiculous, especially since you bleached it. But I'm trying to look like Ric Flair out here, okay? But now I've got bleached curtains coming out of a cool Russian hat. If you're not on the YouTube, get over there. There's loads of stand-up clips there. Get fucking involved. Shout out to all the people who are already on the Patreon. Big up. Yous are fucking legends. Thank you for supporting me in my creative exploits, including the Good Guy Podcast, sketches, stand-up clips, writing stuff, making stuff, viral tweets. I'm sitting on a viral tweet right now, so like my insides are like buzzing with dopamine from 70,000 people thinking I'm funny. Oh shit. Yeah, so it's been an exciting week, but we'll get to that further down the line. In terms of gigs, Liverpool, I'm in you soon, mid-November, as long as the world doesn't explode any more than it already has exploded. Belfast, again, November potentially, just waiting to hear back on a couple of fucking things. London people, hello, talking to you now, talking to the London folks. I think more people listen to this in Belfast than London, but that might not be true. 24th of October, Fulham Comedy Club. I'm on. I might be emceeing, but also I might not be, because it's all a bit up in the air. But I will be there and I will be telling jokes. So fucking yeah. 25th of October, I'm at Kazim Jamal's birthday gig at Elements Bar in Lewisham. So all you Southeast motherfuckers get stuck in there. And my voice sounds very chocolatey today. I think that's good. Yeah, so Lewisham Elements Bar, 25th of October, hit that up. Wednesday the 28th of October, Fulham Comedy Club. It's a bit few and far between since this whole new rule thing, but I will try and get some more in the diary. Yeah, it's a bit fucking sporadic at the minute, to be honest. But just keep on the Instagram at Vittorio Angelone. Twitter for some sensational, globally viral tweets that went very big in Nigeria. Guys, I'm very big in Nigeria. And while we're on the sense of virality, viral ability, shareability, if you're on YouTube, I want you to take a screenshot right about now, and post that on your Instagram story, on your Twitter, on Facebook. Just spread the word about this podcast, because let's be honest, that's how to build a podcast. I'm not going to go on the journal.ie. I'm not going to go to the fucking Telegraph and say, oh, I've got this podcast, I'd love to do some fucking promo for it. Because they'll be like, well, what's the podcast about? And I'll go, hey, it's me in my living room with a lamp talking about victim blaming. That's going to be a large topic of today's podcast. Victim blaming. Victim blaming with Vittorio Angelone. Say what you want about victim blaming, but it works well with my name. We've had a good chat on the old Instagram. As always, well, as recently, I post a little kind of controversial question / statement on my Instagram. Get people involved, get people feeding back. I'm like a modern day blonde Stephen Nolan, but less of a cunt, and I chase less students around the Holy Lands any more. Back in the day, I went to uni in London, so I never really involved myself with that kind of thing. The Holy Lands is the student area in Belfast, for anyone who didn't know that. Welcome to the Good Guy Podcast with me, Vittorio Angelone. If you're listening to the audio on Apple Podcasts, on Soundcloud, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, I would like you to go on right now while you're listening to this, pop on, leave a review, leave a 5-star thing. Apparently that pushes us up the charts and gets just more people in their suggested podcasts. So hopefully people who've seen my exceptionally viral sensation tweet, they will be able to check that out there. And fucking join the fucking good guys. Patreon.com/Vittorio Angelone if you want to support the fucking podcast and support me in making all the cool shit that I make. Jump on there for as little as £1 per month, which is like 3 pints a year. So if you think someone be like, that was funny as fuck, I'd buy him a pint for that. I'd say that happens to a lot of people 3 times a year. So get on board there. I'm going to be releasing some more bonus content there. I'm just trying to work out how the whole Patreon things work. Can I live stream on Patreon? Is that only on Twitch? I'll work something out. I think what I would like to do is a little like reaction video to my own sets of the week. I'll pick a few highlights from the set, from comedy sets I've done that week, new material, new bits, and talk through what I was trying to achieve, what happened, and what was going on. And maybe that'll be almost like a short bonus podcast for the people on Patreon. So get involved on there, as little as £1 a month. I don't do tiers or anything, because anything you can do to support, I really fucking appreciate you getting involved. The radiator over there is making really weird noises. I hope you can't hear it, but I can hear it, and I wanted to share that with you. The first thing that I said I would talk about on this podcast is that I bought my girlfriend a book about feminism. And it's going to be the fucking death of me. Because she said, oh, I saw this book online. Because it's one of those books that goes viral on Instagram. Which is how you know it's a good book. Or at least how you know it's an easy book to read. When Instagram influencers have read it. But I doubt most of them have read it. I'm sure they just saw the nice cover and posted it and went, yeah, yes, queen. COVID. I don't have COVID, I think. Yeah, and look, I agree. Women have had a shit time. Women aren't equal in this society. They have it tough. Men are bigger. And they beat you up and rape you and stuff. And that's not good. That's not good. We'll get more onto men later in the podcast. But for now, this fucking book is called Women Don't Owe You Pretty. And it's written by an illustrator, which, alarm bells, probably don't read books by illustrators, would be my advice. Stick to the colouring in, love. Honey, pet, sweetheart. Stick to the colouring in. You know? You go back to your... And that's why it went on Instagram, because it's a nice cover. It says, Women Don't Owe You Pretty. And I haven't read it, but I'm going to talk about it. I think the premise of the book, roughly from what I've been... From the points that have been used against me, I don't think you should be allowed to argue points. I don't think you should be allowed to use feminist points in an argument against the guy that bought you the book. She's just come in. She's so angry.
It's going to sound really annoying, but could you open this for me? I can't unscrew it.
In the middle of a podcast about her arguing about feminism with me, I have to unscrew something. And I have hypermobility. So my wrist might dislocate while I do this. Do you want to chat to the people while I unscrew this for you, pet?
Say, okay.
I'll do that for you, sweetheart.
I'm so sorry for interrupting.
No, don't worry. It's not live. This will all go in the podcast because this is really funny.
Okay.
What a time. We're just talking about your book that's written by a colouring in lady.
Shut up.
Chat to the people, your side of the story. You can summarize the book to me and the audience so I can talk about it after you leave. Does that sound okay?
Yeah. This is the real deal. So, did you do it? Thank you. So, in the interests of strong, powerful women, Vittorio had... In the interest of
strong, powerful women, you're not in shot right now.
Thank you for interrupting me. That's really kind. Thank you for unscrewing it. In the interest of powerful women, yesterday one of Vittorio's jokes was stolen by a meme page on Instagram. And I went to town on them, and I sent them very strongly worded messages, emails. I tried to phone them roughly 100 times and video chat. I commented on every other comment on this very popular post about how it was wrong, and I got it taken down. I did a thing.
It's very white woman of you.
Why? Because I don't campaign for like
It was
other
like a
people's rights, but I do for the sake of your comedy.
It's a very Karen move.
That's a really horrible thing to say.
No, don't you be one of them people that thinks Karen's a slur.
Thank you for unscrewing my jar. I'm
Do you
leaving.
want to tell us about the book? Tell us about the book.
It's really good. I've started a book club with my mum so that she can learn about feminism as well. Yeah, I hope everyone's really well and
Can you
taking
give us
care
a
of
little
themselves.
synopsis of what you've garnered from the book so far?
It's kind of, I haven't read enough of it yet to make any general statements. However, I'm rethinking ideas that I thought I'd thought about, but I actually hadn't given any thought at all. An example would be the issue of body hair on women, and how some women hate something that naturally comes to their body. Like, why should you not love everything that your body naturally does and makes? So it's a lot about love, and I like that about it. And it's, make sure that you're shaving, waxing, tweezering, epilating, all manner of hatings. Make sure you're doing it all for your own, because you want to, because you like it, not because you want somebody else to like it or because you think it makes you look better. If it makes you feel better.
That's what it's all about.
All for the right reasons. On that note, I'll get back to the kitchen.
Get back to cooking my dinner, woman.
I was actually in the kitchen, but if you call me woman again, I will smite you.
But you are a woman. You're a strong and beautiful woman. You've ruined my lighting setup. It's okay.
I am the sun.
Get out. That was Isabella Brownson, my wonderful girlfriend. Which is proof that I'm not a dickhead. Or maybe she's just deluded. Or maybe I'm hot enough to get away with it. The body hair thing's an interesting one. I have a little thought about that, where I agree women shouldn't be societally pressured to remove body hair that occurs naturally to them. But I think men shouldn't be precluded from having a personal preference on what they like and what they are kind of just their preference in a partner. And that might sound fucking bad or whatever, but my example that I would give is that a lot of women don't like men with beards or hairy chests or hairy backs. Hairy backs are kind of on the whole unattractive for men, but are perfectly natural. I have quite a hairy back and a hairy chest and a hairy belly, and if I left it alone, I would grow a beard. So, and that's okay. Women are allowed to have that kind of preference, and I'm allowed to decide not that it's not worth it for me to be with one of those women, because I can be fucked shaving my fucking body. Even though every other podcast I fucking listen to is sponsored by manscaped.com. Sponsor me, you cowards. Although I have just said I don't shave anything, even my dick. So I don't know if I've precluded myself from Manscaped sponsorship there. Probably my colossally low listenership would do that for me. One day, if you guys keep fucking sharing, then we can build it into something where I can actually make some fucking money for tearing apart my living room once a week, to set up a podcast studio. Now she's blending things. I don't know what she's blending. She told me what she was going to cook, and I don't think it involves a blender. But here we are. Life goes on. So I think you should be allowed to have your own personal preference. I think men are societally pressured to look a certain way as well. Like, if you look at Love Island, a lot of women would say, oh, the women, like, you're never going to look like those women look like this and this. But I'd say there's actually a lot more normal looking women, like as in not unobtainably attractive women on Love Island than there are unobtainably attractive men. Like, you look at the fucking size of some of those cunts and the hairlessness. We need more hairy men on Love Island. And I know women don't have their fucking, they all shave their legs and all that fucking crack. But I'm just saying, maybe that exists for both. Would be my thing. And as a man who personally legitimately deals with like quite a lot of body image issues and like just not sure how to feel it, to the point where, and if you're from Belfast you'll know this, but if you don't, quick introduction: Mickey Bartlett is a big fat pug looking comedian who is fantastic and one of the reasons I do comedy, and it's absolutely amazing that he's been on this podcast and we're mates now. That's one of the coolest things about being a comedian and where I've got to is that like I'm now mates with the people that I used to go and watch as a fan of comedy before I started. We went and played basketball over lockdown, and I did a little video about it, which is on my Instagram. Fucking scroll back if you want to see it. And I literally like was there and was like, oh fuck, we look the same, like in these basketball shirts. And I watched the video back and I was like, oh my god, we're just not the same shape whatsoever. But I probably have body dysmorphia or something, but no one gives a fuck because I got a dick. Okay. So yeah, and then the point that I have been making on stage a little bit recently is that no one hates women more than women. And I was talking to my friend Chris about it, who, name drop, is in the Netflix series Warrior Nun. And she recommended a book called Trainwreck, which is about how women kind of talk about other women who have failed society standards of womanhood. And it is a lot of like women really fucking shit on each other a lot. And it's not in like a fun bantery way. Like men shit on each other, but it's like funny. We call each other bald and fat and ugly and pug like and all that shit. But like, I think we support each other when it fucking matters. But you just see a lot of women really fucking each other over, and it's not good, man. It's not good to see. We should support each other and love each other. Another example of that would be a lot of women think that the WNBA players don't get paid enough. But none of them fucking watch the WNBA, which would be exactly how to get them paid more. By using your market share as an audience member, as a consumer, to buy their shit and go to the games. But they don't do that. They just want it to happen. Unfortunately, we live in a capitalist society where that can't happen. Well, it can't happen without people buying shit, and the NBA already buffers and all of them. But I don't want to seem like one of these fucking meninists, men's right activists. I'm not that at all, because fuck that for a bowl of fucking chips. But I do think that there is an issue within some of the feminist movement where some women, hashtag not all women, misrepresent their movement by caring about stuff that really isn't the fucking issue. Do you know what I mean? And I think it does nothing but damage people's perceptions of feminism. And it's the same when I see Irish people doing that fucking Mrs. Brown's Boys stuff. Because it's like the equivalent of Uncle Tom, which is when black people kind of pander to the white man and play a caricature of a black person as a performer. That's what I see Mrs. Brown's Boys as. It's a fucking Uncle Brown's Boys. It's an Uncle Tom of sorts. I think the term is like cooning, but I don't think I'm allowed to say that. Even though my uncle, by like not really related uncle, he's called Connor and he has very tight curly hair. So everyone calls him Cooner and has done forever. Belfast. That's where that happens. But it's not like, so I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word, but that's what it's called. So I said it. There we are. There's an interesting, Point to kind of while I'm on that, I should have mentioned at the start. I have a new podcast coming out called No Blacks, No Dogs, No Irish, with myself and Mo Omar, who's a comedian from Wales and Somalia, who's black. We'll be chatting about those kinds of things, how to exist in the world as an Irish person and a black person in a very funny way. It's not a serious podcast whatsoever. Sometimes this podcast ventures into seriousness, but that one I don't think will very often at all. I wanted to create a space for me to do like the comedy fucking bit more piss takey, always someone else, not always just me. So also, if you're new to the podcast on YouTube, I do click my jaw a lot. I'm not on gear. It's just what I do. Okay? Thank you. What else did I wanna? So this book, yeah, she keeps using these arguments and just getting in, like, I don't even fucking say anything. It's not even. It's just like, I've been reading this book and you're wrong. And I'm like, I didn't say anything. She's like, well, you're still wrong because you're a man. And I'm like, what? And I think a large theme in the book is how women feel pressured to look a certain way. And the perception is that that's a pressure put on them by men. But, do you know? Like, and they're like, but in all these magazines, women look like this, this, and this. And I'm like, who fucking buys those magazines? You. Men don't read those magazines. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you played yourself. As always, let me know if you have any thoughts on my ridiculous opinions. I don't claim to have the correct opinions. I just tell you what I think. And then if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. If you're on YouTube, actually, by the way, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Have a look at my playlist. There's some stand-up clips, podcasts, all that sort of shit. Just to compartmentalize it for you. And smash that little bell button that's going to be somewhere over here to remind you when I have a video. You'll get a little notification for a new podcast or sketch or stand-up clip. Basically is all our podcast clip. Check those out. The next thing I wanted to talk about, how long have we done? 22 minutes. This is good. We've done about a third of the podcast on that, although there's a lot of intro, so maybe not. Although I think the last section on the stabby man in Belfast will be long, but good. I think Bill Burr's monologue on Saturday Night Live. Bill Burr is a comedian. If you haven't seen him, he's American. He's from Boston. He's very, very funny. I actually wasn't that into him until kind of this year, really, since he brought out his latest special called Paper Tiger, which is on Netflix, which I would recommend everyone to watch, men, women, everyone, because number one, it's hilarious. There's some of the best bits ever on that fucking special. Recorded at the Albert Hall in London, which is cool as fuck. I've performed there. I fell asleep during Stravinsky's Firebird with the Ulster Youth Orchestra and the Ulster Orchestra double orchestra version. I fell asleep at the back, got woken up by the second last movement of the suite called the Infernal Dance, which goes yep bum 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 bum. That woke me up and I fell asleep and didn't miss anything. That's life as a classical percussionist. That sums it up. Bill Burr, Paper Tiger, some most hilarious bits you'll ever see, but also in the last half an hour, 20 minutes, it deconstructs men's inability to deal with their emotions properly and turning sadness into anger, which is brought about by society's pressures put on, I'm not claiming just by women, but by women and men alike. And society wasn't built by men. It just accidentally benefited men for fucking years and years and years. And we're redressing that. If you think society was built by men for men, I don't think that's the case. I think what happened is we were chimpanzees and then we were cavemen. And we did chimpanzee things where men and women had very distinct roles because we didn't really have conscious thought. And then we did the caveman thing where men would go out and do a certain thing and women would stay home and do a different thing. And then those roles just diverge. But now we've reached a place in society where a lot of the going out and doing things stuff can also be done by women if they want to do that. So they should have that option available to them. They can go out and work. They can be independent. They don't have to just be homemakers or this or this or this. And they should earn the same amount for doing the same job, which they do. But over a lifetime, they should have the same opportunities to climb the ladder and earn more and more and more money if they want to do that. If they want to be mental enough to commit their whole life to their work and their career and not really see their family at all and earn millions, they should be allowed to do that too, because everyone should be allowed to be fucking mental. Okay? But what didn't happen is in the fucking 1200s, men didn't sit down and go, this is how it's going to be. Obviously, there were some structures in place that men suited men, so they kind of just went, oh, we'll keep that how it fucking is, and that still happens. But what it isn't is built by men. It might be perpetuated by men, perhaps not consciously. I don't like that the exposure just changed on the YouTube. Sorry if you're just listening to this, which is most of you. But anyway, it's been a gradual thing. And now we need to kind of shunt it all back. But I don't think shunting is really possible. I think what we need to do is just curve it back towards where we want to be, which is equality. Do you know what I mean? And it has been curving for a while, but everyone's getting a little bit impatient, which is what happens when there's inequality, and everyone wants to shunt it, but you just gotta. It's like kind of aggressive feminists are like the IRA, where they want to just blow everything up and get what they want. But what you should really do is sign the Good Friday Agreement and just gradually trickle towards a United Ireland / equality for men and women. Do you know what I mean? That's my thoughts on that. Again, not claiming to be correct, just claiming to tell you what I think. So Bill Burr really, really deconstructs that in a very hilarious fashion, to the point where I laughed very much and I also cried. And I watched it with my brother, my older brother Dario, over lockdown. And he went, at the end, the first thing he said was, how do we get Dad to watch that without him knowing that's why we want him to watch it? Because my dad's that very angry, emotions keep them down kind of man. So we were like, this just explains who Dad is and the parts of that exist within every man, which causes us to kill ourselves all the fucking time. You know, onward. He did SNL monologue. SNL is Saturday Night Live, which is a weekly sketch show in America, where they kind of do satirical things. It's a very liberal, kind of left-leaning sketch show with a similarly liberal, New Yorky, woke, rich, white audience. And then they get people on to do an opening monologue and kind of host the show and be in some of the sketches every week, who's like a guest, who's not part of the Saturday Night Live cast. And Bill Burr was booked to do it for the first time recently, and he fucking smashed it out of the park. He had some fantastic bits about Pride Month and Black History Month and Black Lives Matter and white women, to the point where, and this was really, really fucking exciting moment for me. I had a bit for an idea. I had an idea for a bit that I wanted to work on, that I wanted to try, but never had the balls to try. And the reason I tried it recently, and it has actually been going well, I just need to work on developing it. The reason that pushed me to actually try it and just fucking take the risk is because while I was watching Bill Burr's Saturday Night Live monologue, I was like, oh fuck, is he going to do, has he had the same idea as me? Because of the territory he was kind of walking along. I was like, oh shit, is he going to do it? And then I can't do it. And then he didn't. And I was like, hey, Vittorio, if you think that one of your favorite comedians could have possibly had the same idea for a bit as you, do the bit. And it's been going fantastically, and it's about white women and the abolition of slavery. Big up. It's really funny. I might post a clip of it soon, but also I might not. I want to work on it a bit more and get it more where I want it to be. Okay? Thank you very much. So I'd recommend you go watch that Saturday Night Live Bill Burr monologue. It's on Twitter. It's on YouTube. Free to watch. You don't have to watch the whole show. It's separate. It's like 7 or 8 minutes long. Definitely watch it. You could pause this video and go watch it if you wanted to. But don't leave me. But you can leave me if you want. So after I watched that special, and that, like, I'm just very into him. I think he's like kind of newfound appreciation for his comedy and where he's coming from and that whole thing. And I still have to go back and watch all of his older specials on Netflix, just because I think with my new appreciation for him, I think that would be a good idea. Oh fuck, my heartbeat is going through the microphone. I was wondering what that little thing on the audio visualizer there was. I was like, oh my god, what is that? But it's my heart. Watch that while I'm talking about recommendations on All 4 or 4OD, Channel 4 on demand on the internet, the only way you fucking watch TV anymore, on demand. Do you remember if anyone had NTL or Virgin TV when they first started doing like Film Flex, where you could rent movies online? It's like any show you, and Samuel L. Jackson was in the ad. It was like any show you want, whenever you want, because freedom is everything. And that was the fucking ad for it, and that was the beginning of the end for TV. They killed themselves. Watch Mo Gilligan's Black, British and Funny. It's a documentary about the black comedy scene in the UK, which is also known as the urban circuit, which I've always had an awareness of as a thing, and an interest in. I always wanted to be on the gigs and like just see what it was like. Because I think as an Irish person, it's especially living in England, I think it's very easy to just have more kind of cultural kinship with the black experience than the white English one. Because why the fuck wouldn't you? We were on the same fucking signs that didn't let us in pubs. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I think some kind of just like appreciation for that, and just like an understanding of that experience really just helped me. Like, I just felt a pull towards it basically. And I did my first urban gig last week. I don't know if I talked about this in the podcast, but it was fucking great, man, and like great crowds, great show, great venue in Shoreditch. I'd love to do more. It's kind of a weird one because it's supposed to be like the black circuit or whatever, but like they're very welcoming. Great chats backstage, and just like all that bullshit like power imbalance stuff that normally makes people very tense about talking about race and culture and politics, and especially in England, like you hate talking about stuff that actually makes the world fucking tick. You get so stressed. Yeah, so just really, really fun, really enjoyed it. Basically the black comedy circuit exists because the mainstream circuit of TV and clubs and all that shit didn't create enough space for the number of black comedians there. So it was like either no black comedians on a lineup, or maybe one, and only one black comedian allowed on TV at any one time. And you have to fucking smash it the first time. And I need to investigate within my own head whether, and I think there is like, I mean, I've heard older Irish comedians say to me, oh, we had our time. We were fashionable in the noughties when Ed Byrne and Dara O'Brien and Patrick Keelty got on TV, and they kind of still are on TV, and that's what they do. Like that they did that, but we had our time, and we're not fashionable anymore. So it's like it's very difficult for Irish comedians to kind of break through right now. Was what I was told, which is crazy and really fucking annoying. And part of the reason why I've just always fucking plowed on making my own shit that you're watching right now, and why it means so much when people share stuff and support and all that crack. But basically it's a documentary by Mo Gilligan, who's a fantastic fucking comedian and TV and actor and all that fucking shit, who is kind of the black comedian on TV right now. And he talks to the people that inspired him to be who he is now, and should have been given more opportunities when they were younger, and have always just had to create their own fucking work. So they just had to build their own circuit from the ground up, and it's fucking huge, man. They play massive theaters and arenas and all that shit, and you're just like, why would you not put them on TV? They clearly fucking, the audience likes it, But that's not what it's about. It's about being safe. That's what TV's about, and that's what that whole fucking thing is. And that's what happens. But then they build their own thing, become fucking viral sensations, build their own audience, sell their own tickets. Fucking great. Which is what I'd like to do anyway, because you have more creative freedom. So I would recommend you watch that documentary. It's an hour long. Unreal. So good. Really insightful. Really, really funny. And really inspiring, I think, from anyone. To just see that you don't need the gatekeepers. You don't need anyone to tell you that it's okay to do it. Or to give you permission. Just go fucking do what you want to do. Which is, listen, do whatever the fuck you want. I've said that from, I think, episode 10 of this podcast was the first time I remember saying, just do whatever the fuck you want to do. Fuck the rest of them. Fuck anyone says that Irish people can't be smart or like hardworking or any fucking thing. Fuck anyone says that black people can't do anything. Fuck anyone that says because of where you're from or what you look like that you can't be whatever the fuck you want to be and do whatever the fuck you want to do. Fuck them. You don't need them anymore. You never needed them if they can sell out fucking arenas and theaters and all that shit without any fucking TV stuff by just being fucking class. And now we have the whole internet and access to fucking... My tweet went viral in fucking Nigeria. Why the fuck would I need TV? Weird comparison, but I think it makes sense. So that kind of spawned off Bill Burr and that documentary and that whole thing. Recommend you watch Bill Burr. Recommend you watch Mo Gilligan, Black, British and Funny. COVID. So the last thing I want to talk about, and this is when I'll dip into my Instagram replies, messages and comments, is a man who was stabbing women in Belfast like a fucking legend. No, obviously not good. Why do I feel the need to tell you that I don't believe that the man stabbing women in Belfast is a good guy? Surely you all know I think that already. You know what I mean? Like, why would I? Ridiculous. So let's get the story up. Let me see. 3 women were stabbed by a man. Okay, I accept. You can have all of my data. Fuck off. I just want to get this story right so I can talk about it more accurately. Police investigating a series of attacks on women in Belfast have released an image of a man they are urgently seeking to identify. Detectives investigating a series of attacks on women in the Belfast area on Monday the 12th of October are urgently seeking to identify the male in this image to assist them with their inquiries. Yeah, so basically this guy stabbed 3 women and punched 2 of them in the back of the head. And basically, oh fuck yeah. Oh wait, no, that's different. Okay. And it was kind of on Twitter. It went a bit kind of, there was an uproar because when the fuck is there not an uproar on Twitter? But there was an uproar because the police apparently put out a statement saying women should stay in groups and maybe avoid that area if possible until they fucking catch this guy who was stabbing women and punching them in the back of the head. And people got very fucking angry about that because they said it was victim blaming, and a lot of women on Twitter were saying, well, why don't you advise men to not fucking stab women instead of advising women not to go where the stabby man is? Because police already advise everyone not to stab people because that's the law. Like, that's a really stupid thing to say. Like, I get it. I get that you're angry. I had a little chat with my girlfriend about it. I get women's fuses are very short with this kind of thing, which is very understandable because it's such a fucking onslaught of being told You're not allowed to go on a walk alone at night. What were you wearing? She was asking for it. All that fucking shit, which is obviously fucking bullshit. But this isn't saying don't walk there at night ever. Like, this is just saying, oh, this mental cunt is fucking stabbing women in this age bracket. So maybe if you fit the group that he seems to be targeting, probably don't go there by yourself, because you might get stabbed. Which seems to make fucking sense to me. To be like, yo, this, like, because that might fucking save some women's lives. Do you know what I mean? To alert them to the danger that they're specifically in. And it's like, but right. So what actually happened is, and I looked at it, I think what happened is the PSNI put out a statement saying people to not go out and do whatever. And people, it got Chinese whispered into women, telling women to do it. And people said, and I had a good chat with people on the Instagram. I'll read through some of the stuff, because I think I had interesting responses from people and interesting chats with a few people. So the questions I posed on the... Oh, I want to actually... Let's go through the Instagram thing in general. So I put up a couple polls on Instagram just about, like, asking questions, feeling out what people think about what's going on. And I said, buying my girlfriend a book about feminism, mistake or not a mistake? And it's got 101 votes for not a mistake and 44 votes for mistake. Now, what I think I should have made more clear in that question is I get a sense that a lot of people are voting for mistake because they see me as like a misogynist and like anti-feminist, which I'm not. But so they're saying that for me to buy that for her is a mistake. But then I think some people are asking the question of, like, generally, is it a mistake? Do you know what I mean? So I think some people who would think it's a good idea generally don't think it's a good idea for me to do that, because they think I'm going to get fucking dumped. Basically what's going to happen. But we've come up with a rule on this podcast, which is, if I bought you the fucking book, you're not allowed to fucking argue the points against me. Buy your own fucking book, bitch. That's funny. Fuck you if you don't think that's funny. It's funny. This is the problem with living in London as well, is you immediately can hear all the people just getting angry. And I'm like, I need to just fucking say the thing and not worry about the people, because you're not fucking listening by this point. Do you know what I mean? So, and a lot of people were... Oh, so that was that one. I asked for people's opinions on the Bill Burr's SNL monologue. Yeah, we'll go through all these. Someone said, really enjoyed it, although I think the best SNL monologues are from comedians. Hey, what a fucking surprise. The people whose actual job it is to sum up ideas, sum up large and potentially controversial ideas in entertaining ways are the best at summing up large and somewhat controversial ideas in entertaining ways. What a fucking surprise that is when it's the actual job description. Absolutely unreal. He's the GOAT from James McAllister. Topical, funny, and relentless. That's really... that's a great, quick way to sum it up. Finger on the pulse with what's going on in the world. Funny, absolutely hilarious, and just like do, and just no bullshit, no pander, no kind of doing what I do. What I was just talking about, where I like preempt the offense. Just fucking say it if you mean it. Say if you think it's true or funny, and just fucking plow ahead relentlessly. Fucking great. I've had someone say spot on. Someone said it was incredible. He took socially poignant topics and took it to the line, as great comics do. That's what we all fucking want. Make horrible things funny. That's what we fucking want. James McKagney said yes. The audience was shite, but the monologue was brilliant. Look, the audience is the perfect fucking audience. Everyone thinks that all these offended audiences, and I have just kind of said it, have ruined comedy. But actually, if no one was upset by anything, then comedy wouldn't be fun, because there would be no tension. So what we need is little fucking bitches in the audience to be like, ah! So we can tread that line carefully and see if we can make them laugh at stuff that they disagree with. Because that's fun. The tension is what makes the joke. Because if there's no tension, there'll be no joke. So we need the tension. Someone said lovely hair. Thank you. Decent. People don't like their poster boys shaking their foundations. I don't really know what that means. Zapui, who's a new follower from a viral sensation. Shout out to you. I hope you're listening to the podcast. If you are, hello. This is some responses to the women staying indoors thing. I think we're on to that now. Oh, fuck. Let's see all responses. Okay, let's go to the bottom. I think the backlash, this is from, should I read out names? People moving on. I think I'll read out names. Hopefully no one is annoyed that I read out names. Pervla Cullen, I think the backlash, actually she did a typo and said blacklash. Not in 2020, you can't get away with that. Pervla Cullen, you're fucking cancelled, mate. You're fucking cancelled. Blacklash, what's that? A lashing for a slave? Cancelled. I think the backlash on this is a bit harsh. The police message is always don't go about stabbing. And this is the fucking thing. It's the law. We know not to stab. But we also know the people who do stab don't care about what we tell them to do. So there's no point in going, hey, don't stab. Because they know that. But they do it anyway. Ross Houston says, depends on the temperature at the time. I don't know what that means, but it feels sexist. Okay, it feels sexist. Pretty obvious advice. Next, I'll tell people with a nut allergy, don't go to Five Guys. I have a weird thing where I do have a nut allergy, but I tend to be okay at Five Guys. I'm not like super like stressful nut allergy. For those of you who don't know, they cook their chips in peanut oil. But yeah, I tend to be, but I don't have a very severe nut allergy. Maybe one day I'll just die in a Five Guys. Yes, they should also avoid letting people drug them and not let strange men rape them too. Yeah, I mean, obvious advice for women, just don't let that happen. That's a joke. Joke. Presenting a view I disagree with to show how ridiculous it is. It's a joke. Here's a funny story. I saved a woman potentially from being date raped by stealing drinks. So there's a game called Minesweeping where you go around a bar and just lift unattended drinks and just drink them because you're broke and you need to get drunk to make the bad thoughts go away. Which was me for about 5 years and might be me again. Thank you, lockdown. Patreon.com/Vittorio Angelone. And I was out in Belfast at a pub called the Dirty Onion, and what I would argue is the Dirty Onion, the home of date rape in Belfast, I would say, just based on the clientele, the home of date rape, I would say, I would guess, I would say, if you wear bootcut jeans and pointy brown brogues, you're a date rapist, so that's that. But I was minesweeping and got spiked, but obviously no one spiked me. I'd obviously just stolen a girl's drink who had someone who tried to spike her, but I took the spiking and saved that girl from a terrible evening. So minesweeping, stealing drinks is feminism. Thank you. Always good to stay out their way, I'd say, but equally don't stab. We all know don't stab, so probably good to stay out of their way. We had someone say they should have the stabbing man to avoid women. Hey, he knows he's not supposed to stab people, but he does it anyway. Does no harm. Not like they can say, can the stabber please stop? And he'll be like, yeah, sound. Exactly my point. Thank you, Michael Fogarty. From Lord Firefox, I know he won't mind his name being read out. I say, arm the females with machine gun handbags. Hey, finally someone's talking a bit of sense. Just have them tootling down the road after a night out. And just, all right, love, guess a fucking dead. Yes, but make it clear without making them sound at fault. Yeah, cool. Yeah, agree with that. Don't put it in a like, women, if you've any fucking sense, just put it in a cool way, which I think they did. Yes, of course. They shouldn't have just warned women, to be honest. It should be a general warning to all. But the target audience of the stabbing is women. So you got to play to your audience. Didn't they also advise women not to go out alone? How you frame this question is important. That's correct. I couldn't find anywhere where they said don't go out alone. I did have a little look. If anyone knows of the article or statement where they said to women specifically, I couldn't find anything where they said anything to women specifically, but I thought it was a good hypothetical conversation to have if they had said it. Because my question is, if they say to people generally, is that not still victim blaming? It's just a bigger group. Do you know what I mean? Someone else has said, yes, you can't advise a nutcase to not stab people, but you can advise people to take care of themselves. That's what I'm saying. And this kind of brings it onto my argument, particularly in Belfast. What I would say is, in a city where it's considered part of everyday life that if you're going on a bus to a certain area and you're in a Catholic school uniform or a Protestant school uniform, depending on the area, to take off your tie and blazer so no one knows that you're a Catholic or a Protestant, because that's fucking sensible, because there's nutcases that'll fucking beat you up or kill you for being Catholic or Protestant in that area. In the same city where that happens and everyone goes, cool. No question of victim blaming there. When I can't wear a Celtic top down the fucking shankle. Obviously I can't wear a Celtic top down the fucking shankle because we know fucking nutcases live there who'll fucking kick the shit out of me. Similarly, can't wear a Rangers top in the falls because there are nutcases that'll kick the shit out of me. So that's not me being blamed for being kicked the shit out of. We just have to take nutcases into account in our day-to-day lives. That's the unfortunate reality of life. There's fucking nutcases. Sorry, not my fault. I can see why they were warned in case they didn't know, maybe, as long as the only action being taken wasn't, hey ladies, avoid that weirdo, cheers, and leaving it. I mean, of course the police are chasing after the stabby man. That's obviously, like, I don't want to sound patronising, but of course they're doing that. He fucking stabbed 3 women and punched 2 in the back of the head. The women are all fine, by the way. Minor injuries. No one's in serious harm or whatever. Obviously terrible things happen to them. Traumatizing, might have a lot of kind of emotional trauma to deal with, but thankfully, praise Allah, they're all okay. They should advise everyone to stay away from certain areas, not just women. It's everyone at risk. But is it everyone at risk if he's only fucking stabbing women? No, but advising women to stay in groups was silly. Hashtag COVID, and also I ain't stopping, no knife. Yes, but I feel like the man is less likely to jump a group of women than women. And I did a little poll that said, PS and I told women to avoid an area at night where a man has stabbed multiple women. And the options were victim blaming or solid advice. And we had 41 votes for victim blaming and 100 votes for solid advice. And I had some people ask me, is it largely women in the victim blaming one and men in the solid advice one? And both of them, I think, are more of a mix than you would think. It is, you're correct in those majorities, but it's maybe 70-30 and 60-40 rather than 100-100. And also my Instagram is 60% men following me, or 62% or something. So that's something. If you're a woman and enjoy this podcast, share it with your female friends, because I would like to have more audience that I can collaborate with and learn from and get all these fucking Instagram polls with. From more women, share my stand-up clips. They're all great. They're for all genders, even the ones without a gender. I love you all. You're all great. And to top off this sensational story, because we're on 54 minutes, a headline from BBC News: Belfast attacks. Man apologises after assaults on women. So why are we worried about it? He learned his lesson. He said he's sorry. Why are we perpetrator blaming? What's bullshit? But There has to be space for him to learn and grow and be received into the arms of the Lord.
No, he stabbed like 6 women.
No, he stabbed 3 women and punched 2 in the back of the head.
Oh, well.
How long have you been, like, biting your tongue?
Too long for it.
3 years. I think that sounds like a wonderful... any closing statements?
No.
No, all good? Just dumping me? That was a stressful silence. I was saying I probably phrased the Instagram poll wrong because on the buying you the book, because I think a lot of the people who wrote that it was a mistake for me to buy you the feminist book are saying that as like a personal mistake for me, in that you're going to read it and then dump me.
That's what I thought.
But I think a lot of people thought, like, more generally, it's a good thing to buy your girlfriend a book that she wants to read.
100%.
But what I was saying is I don't think that you should be allowed to use feminist points from a book that I fucking paid for.
Okay, the word allow is seriously triggering.
Can you project a bit more so people can hear you?
Can you shut up a bit more so people don't have to listen to you? Your hat looks stupid. I don't like you.
How's dinner coming along, dear?
I need to run to the shop to get some lettuce bits. Would you like to come with me?
Can I just finish this off?
Go on.
Thank you for listening to the Good Guy Podcast. If you enjoyed, jump on patreon.com/Vittorio Angelone and I can buy her more books that she can use to argue against me. Thumbs up on the YouTube, subscribe on YouTube, give us a review on iTunes. Honestly, I would appreciate it so much. Most importantly, word of mouth, screenshot, post on your Instagram story. I'll share it there. Thank you so much for listening. This has been the Good Guy Podcast. And what do we say at the end of the Good Guy Podcast?
Thank you.
No, we say up the fucking good guys. You know we say up the fucking good guys.
Sorry, I work with kids. When everyone says, what do we say?
What do we say? Thank you. Thank you. Up the fucking good guys and the ra. Thanks for listening. Bye.